Isn't it about time for somebody's favorite radio program?
Holy Testicle Tuesday
was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
It is a world where humanity is ruled by vampires, where hope is eclipsed by despair. This is it, the spectacular science fiction horror romance that started it all. Vampire Hunter D.
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
If I had time, I should have figured out how to make a Vampire Hunter P for Pops, but I did not have time for said ridiculousness. But it's what this film deserves. Much more of that shenanigans.
We're gonna give them the D.
Giving me the D? I'm not sure I like that.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
It is just another Tuesday to some, but here it is Talk Hard Tuesday. Hope you are doing well out there, folks. He's got his glasses on. Loki's got his hoodie and his toque on, and we're ready to rock and roll, man. Tuesday's here. Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust. That's right, the sequel. We did a Talk Hard on the original VHD, which I kind of gave a slightly midland to a little better than midland. That's not totally my speed, but I didn't hate it or anything like that. Feel like I get people that love vampires and that kind of stuff would like this kind of IP. But yeah, we're going to do the sequel, and lots of hugs and kisses and love for old SQUEEKA Mouse. She's not going to be with us tonight. Stuff going on in the old IRL, so keep her in your thoughts and prayers and hopes and dreams and such for her, because she's you know what? Life can be tough sometimes, but you know what? We're out here. We're doing our thing, having a good time. Hopefully you are excited to be here with us hanging out. So with that, Ironcaster, my friend, Anime is here. What is going on, brother?
Oh, my friend, it is going. And I was kind of weighing on myself, like, which glasses did I want to wear today? But I think we better put on the more proper rose-tinted glasses for this one, because this is what I'm looking forward to.
Wow. There he is. There he is.
Because I would.
Cue
Because
the
I would
shampoo commercials, and we're ready to go. He needs to have a beard oil sponsor or something at this point. So, Loki, my brother, what is going on? How you feeling, man? What's going on?
Doing okay. Just got done with a great YouTube talk. Had a good time. Did not have a good time watching this movie. So, this will be one of those rare occasions. Yeah, I know. Oh. I know. Where I absolutely positively disagree with Ironcaster.
Better take careful.
I guess I missed it. I guess I missed this, considering it released in 2001. And
I guess in the meantime we should probably see to going on until Loki returns.
Wait, I'm hearing Loki. I see Loki fine. I don't understand what's going on. Ironcaster.
He's frozen for me.
No, he's just moving around.
No, I don't see him. I don't hear him. He's frozen. Let me reset at my end. Let's see if this is a me problem. This is what happens when the rose-tinted glasses. Here, no,
I'm watching it. I see it. I see it live. I see it in my. I think this is the glasses. I think it's melted some cerebral cortex material, and Ironcaster will be back, and we might let him play. I don't know. No, it's good. Look, listen. We want your honest opinion, man. We do not want rose-tinted glasses from you, my friend. We want what you actually feel. So we'll get there. We'll get there. So let's get that. Let's get the man back in here. We'll see how things go now. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. I see Loki moving, so that's a good sign. Apparently the rose tinted glasses are cursed.
They
Like
very well
this
would be.
movie.
Like it's all right. Uh, so I went ahead and knocked it out. Get a way to give away those Pops memberships. And by the way, if you're not a member, consider it. You will have early access to my conversation with Ironcaster as we talked about Mobile Suit Gundam. That would be my Friday Popcast, but you'll have access to that as early as tomorrow, actually. So hopefully that'll be up and running. But yeah, early access to stuff. And yeah, keep the Pops universe going. Appreciate you guys out there. But yeah, this went to Morning Hayes, Stark of Iron, Arwen, David, and Christopher Long. So lots of folks out there. And Keely Chow out in the front door first and foremost. Great to see you, man. Hopefully you're doing well. And Penny. Penny's always fun to hang out with here. Always big supporter and fan. Appreciate her. And there's Snorty holding the door open. Welcoming all the critters. Thank you, Snorty. Thank you for everything, man. Thank you for that. Let's see here. Soul Assassin's in the house. Great to see you, brother. Man, oh man. I was going through some old clips and saw some old Soul Assassin nicknames from the early days of Pops. So yeah, Soul Assassin's been around with us for that. So yeah, lots of love for the mouse. She's just not with us tonight. But yeah, she'll be back. Claude's in the house. Great to see Claude. Hopefully everybody out there is doing good. So oh yeah, Culture Casinos, Magic Beard Oil. I don't know. I feel like the Ironcaster need to have some sort of branding. Maybe it's just a nice Vidal Sassoon re-release, the Ironcaster bottle. So for sure.
I think we need a nice sandalwood.
So what would Buffy, aka Vampire Slayer B, would have to slay to Charlotte Elborn about her romance with Meyer Link? I don't know. All right. Thank you, Keely Chow. That's a deep cut right there. Never seen the VHDs. Okay, does it have sharks? It does not have sharks. However, Ironcaster does approve. I would not be shocked if he can find a vampire shark movie, so let's not encourage him.
I already have one.
I know you do. I'm sure.
It's only a matter of time until we get to Sharkula. That's all I'm saying.
No, we're not.
We're not doing that.
On an Ironcaster channel, so... Cannoli's in the house. Great to see you, Cannoli. Celebrates 12 months saying, hello, Pops. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Cannoli, for that support and friendship, man. And a great show, great YouTuber himself. And definitely got him on the hook. Loki would be proud. Got him on the hook and the regular growing comic book library now. He's a graphic novel reader and collector, but man, he has got it going on. So maybe not the original floppies, but man, oh man, he got a collection of stuff to read and go through. So yeah, great stuff. Mike is here. Great Comic Relief Crusader is here. Great to see you, brother. Another great YouTuber and friend that's out there, man. Hope you're doing well. So, all right, so let's jump into some stuff here. I think I'm going to come down in the Midland. I don't know exactly what that'll look like here. Figure out why the layers look a little funky for Loki. Let's see if we can. It worked. I don't know why it's doing that. It does that every week. Don't we have this problem every week where it doesn't quite do? All right, let's fix that and then do the old EV Mux switcheroo. We go from the close-up shot, right down to where he belongs. Right there. There you go.
We're nothing but professional.
It is a work in progress at best, folks. Shoot for the C-. Yeah, Vampire Hunter D. I think I enjoyed it okay. Don't think I'm a super, uber fan. I get it. Anime was in the works. We said, hey, listen, we had always put the sequel on the radar screen. Loki, you had said you had never seen it either. So interesting first takes from the two of us. Ironcaster, what is your general love with the old VHD Bloodlust? Where you come down on this film before we get too far into your thoughts on it?
Well, I got to tell you, in all honesty, I'm joining you guys. This was the first time I've seen this one.
Oh, okay.
That said, I've delved into some of the to a couple of the novels. There's a deep appreciation I have for the character, for the style, the artist who's kind of done a lot of the Final Fantasy character designs of the past went and did this. So there's something to always appreciate and respect with Vampire Hunter D. He's this hauntingly beautiful man who's said to be this mysterious character, sort of out of time from the world around him. So there's this unknowableness to the character that makes him intriguing.
Yeah, I think intriguing is fair. I don't. I'm still really confused. Because he's sort of, he's half human, half vampire. He has this weird parasitic thing in his hand, but he also feels almost. There's one vampire god reference in this movie, and I feel like they don't. They kind of keep getting away from us never totally understanding what his power set is. So that is a little confusing. And he does actually benefit more in this movie than the first movie, I think, from like just conveniences to survive. But it wasn't ever like it totally ruined the film for me or anything like that. I didn't, get totally lost or, turned off. So Loki, what are your general thoughts with the character himself, VHD?
Character D's D. I saw this the original. I saw the original when I was a teenager. I did not have access to all the manga and all the stuff that all the cool kids have today. But I saw the original when I was a teenager. Absolutely loved the original. Character was great. Character is not any different in any way, shape, or form than he was in the first movie. However, there's less of him, and he is not as interesting as he is in that first movie. You don't find out anything new about him. It's just like an episode of D, and it's not a very interesting one. So as much as I like the character, I don't really like this movie. So
Okay, fair. I'd love to dissect that a little more. I can agree with you too. He does not feel the star of his own movie. There's so much time spent on other characters. So I feel like it's kind of a weird film because I feel like I enjoyed all the world building and all these other characters, but the problem with that was most characters don't survive out the other side. So I don't totally, it's like I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying what's the point, but I feel like I grew to enjoy the world and some of the different things, but I also feel like on the other side of it, I didn't really get a great payoff for that as well. But that said, I did love the animation at times. I think it's beautifully done. It's dark and edgy and horror when it needs to be. It doesn't ever try to do things that it shouldn't do. It felt really good, and I liked all of that as far as the world building goes. But yeah, the stars of the show is sort of like a combination of a whole bunch of lesser characters. I don't know. What say you, Ironcaster?
Well, first off, I'll start by saying, like, as far as the visuals go, this movie is beautiful. Like the CG work they put into this, the way it's drawn. This is some of the best looking anime film that I've seen in quite a while. But as far as these characters go, like, I mean, D is ultimately this character who sort of comes and goes. He kind of fills that Mad Max niche of being the character who through whom we're sort of supposed to see the world. The problem being, though, there's so many questions about him that we really do want to know more about, that the film just doesn't want to really take the time to get into.
yeah, but at least with Mad Max, it's about Mad Max. This isn't even like you could take D out of this and just put someone else in it, and you've got this like horror anime movie that doesn't really even have to have anything to do with D. This is 30 years after the first movie. Supposedly, he has made this big impact in the world because of the events of the first film. Mm-hmm. Yet none of that, except for one single moment, none of that is reflected in what is going on in the movie. And that one moment is one of the only things I liked about this movie, is when the old man tells the story. 30 years ago, the town was in trouble because this vampire took all the kiddos, and which correlates with how long ago D was, the same year that D did the first movie. Some damn peer shows up in town and says, "Hey, I'll get your kids back." Goes and saves the kids, and it happens to be this old man that he's buying a horse from. That is, I mean, I love that one part because he's like, hey, leave this guy alone. This never set with me right that the town screwed him and tried to kill him after he saved the kids. But really, I mean, take D out of the story. Besides that one moment, you could replace D with anybody, and it's still the same movie.
It does suffer in a lot of ways from a couple of issues with it. First off, we're also jumping novels, so this is an adaptation of the third novel of the series, meaning that there was just a story sort of in between there. But ultimately, that doesn't mean much considering the stories themselves are just D went to this town and then a thing happened. D went to this town and then he had to go fight some other vampires over here.
Yeah, but in that first movie, there is character development, there is character growth, there is character backstory. None of that exists in this movie. You don't find anything out at all about D that you didn't know before. It's nothing. It's
right.
The generic hero goes on adventure. That's where this suffers, is that there's nothing tying D to any of this except for that one moment that Pops has pulled up right now where the old man talks about what happened 30 years beforehand where this damn peer showed up and saved the kids. That's it. That's all you get.
It's an issue that comes along with having a character who doesn't have any roots anywhere. He's constantly blowing with the wind onto the next town. So,
but they solved that in the first movie, so you can't use that like, oh well, he's just this, wanderer. When they address that, they address those issues in the first movie. But I'm not trying to fight with you or argue with you. I'm just saying they fixed that problem. If they would have had that problem in the first movie, I would forgive it for having that problem in the second, but they didn't. They gave you character backstory. They gave you insight into who this guy is. Give us more of that. We're watching this because we love the character and we love the setting. What do we know about the setting? They don't even really update like what's going on in the world besides the text at the beginning of the movie that says D changed the world 30 years ago when the first movie happened. That's it. Where did they get the extra technology? How are they going about making their lives better? These are things we kind of need to know, and instead it's just like undo this problem, go solve it, D, and nothing about like how the world's changed, how he's changed, what's going on. There are very, very limited points in this movie where there's anything that's touching besides, oh, girl falls in love with vampire takes girl away with him, dad wants his daughter back. That's it. That's all there is.
So let me push back a little bit because I do think that it does illustrate some characteristics of how he's completely different than everyone else in the world. So, for instance, in the opening sequence when he approaches that castle, he knows that if he throws these bead things into the air and triggers all these lasers, he can just walk ineffectively right through the security system. Whereas when the girl Layla charges, obviously she doesn't. She gets shot down. She actually gets injured briefly. And then he does establish himself as a character of mercy that's different than the other vampires. Still, even 30 years later, even though he has this legacy, he is still they are still stigmatized, and he is still a character that is showing mercy that's different than what other vampires are. We see this again later when they have more interaction with Layla, because I do think the Layla story arc is what makes D at least interesting, because he's always surprising her. And even when he makes his little weird pact with her about the funeral thing, I thought it was odd because I don't think I believed that he thought he would perish. I didn't think that I just didn't buy the fact that he thought he would die. But I like the fact that he was willing to say, listen, I'm respecting you now because you are definitely persevering. You're definitely evolving as well. But I will say I agree, Loki, that he definitely is more in the background to other people that have bigger arcs. Like, he doesn't seem like a character that really changes much, but I think that it does feel like he's changing the world by just being who he actually is, which is different than everyone else. So even 30 years later from this folklore that appears to have not impacted everybody, he is still showing all these different people, these vampire hunters, all these different people around him. He is so different. And I thought that was at least an interesting adventure. And you're right. I mean, sure, he could have been replaced by a different character, but I feel like that's very similar in most of these films that are kind of like that, like a Mad Max. I think is a good example. Like we could take Max out and put a different character in, and yeah, all right, it's a different character. It wouldn't be that different. So I'm kind of in the middle on that.
But even with Mad Max, they at least touch on things that happen to Max, like his family dying, his wife dying, his kid dying, what happened to him, even if it's just in visuals of like him remembering something when he's asleep. They at least touch on that. There's nothing of that here. Like before I came in here, I sent Pops an Ironcaster a message. I said, "There's only 3 things I like about this movie. The relationship he had with Lila, especially at the end of the movie, I like that. The relationship with the old man, because the old man ends up being one of the kids he saved 30 years prior. I like that, and the artwork. But those 2 story elements, which are the best story elements you get in the whole damn movie, unless you're like, oh, I feel bad for this vampire and this human that fell in love with each other and want to make babies. That's the best thing, and that's like 5 minutes of the movie. That's all you're getting is 5 minutes of the movie. You get a couple of scenes with Lila where she starts to kind of, okay, this damn Pier's not like the other ones, but she still doesn't know it's D. If he's supposed to have made this big impact in the world with the first movie and what he did in the first movie and saving these kids and all this stuff, it should be at least represented a little bit better. And then the end of the movie. That's it. At least with Max, you get like it's Max. You either know what's going on from the first movie, or you get snippets of, oh wow, something happened to his wife and his kid through flashbacks or him talking about something.
But that's
you never get that here.
D doesn't change. D remains the same character throughout every bit of this,
and that's fine.
Nothing about him has changed.
He can stay the same. That's fine. But at least let us learn a little bit more about him. He's still the same D, right? That's fine.
Right.
But let us give us something more than just give us backstory. Give us something that happened before. Give us a little bit of why he's doing this. Like maybe let us know that he fell in love with a mortal at one point and thought about settling down and that didn't work out, or she got killed, or give us something more about him instead of just it's D and he's doing what D does. They gave us that in that first movie with the backstory of his father. They gave us this big thing about who eventually we figure out who D is. None of that's here this time.
Well, we do get very little in the way of that. So we get those little snippets with Carmilla where she's talking about how she loved Dee's father, and we're also getting the little bits where the Hand is talking to D and getting to this idea of he doesn't want to see more Dampiers brought into the world. So it is D remains that stoic character who doesn't let anything out, and it's the Hand that has to be that voice that's going to help inform the audience. But I do agree, though, it would be nice to see more about the character.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on it. I have to be honest, because I was really sucked into the world. I was like, this would really, again, I'm not going to take away from what Loki's saying, but I am in a way, because I really thought this felt very cinematic because we have so many interesting characters, great action sequences. It just feels all that. But I will say you're right. The title character is what's getting lost in all that world building. So it feels vampire 100D universe, but he is a vehicle to tell more about the world that we're in rather than some sort of major story arc for him per se. But the animation and how we get there with these characters and their designs and some of these different, I thought it was all freaking fantastic. I enjoyed all of that. I will say well, I don't know how far ahead we want to go because we still got a long show to go. We'll get to my big criticism of why I was really let down by the end of the movie.
It is an utterly fantastic world where we see so much possibility to it. It has this amalgamation of having this kind of classic kind of fantasy inspired, quasi steampunk elements. There's a lot of the vampire Victorian sort of elements sprinkled throughout. We have these supernatural powers, but then we also have just like spaceships and all this stuff that's seen as like this old lost tech that feels just as alien, just as foreign and almost unknowable as our more mystic elements are.
Well, it's like what? It's like 12,090. I think that's the year is 12,090.
Right.
I don't know how I feel about all that. I feel like it's, Van Helsing meets Mad Max. I don't necessarily really care about some of the sci-fi elements with like a spaceship and stuff. I thought that was actually one of the biggest negative. Again, I guess we're going to jump to the end then. I hated the ending with the spaceship. I thought it was stupid and retarded. I doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. We can't have a vampire space station. And it was dumb. I just couldn't get there. I'm sorry, VHT fans. I love you guys for loving this because I think the world's super cool. That was one of my biggest things. And then we have just this weird, ambiguous time jump between the end of the movie and a funeral scene. Spoiler alert. I was like, what the heck, dude? And then I'll just set it up
in the blink of an eye, and you don't realize that, like, hey, another 60 years in the future.
I get what they're going for. I just thought it didn't work. The biggest crime of the whole movie for me, I know Loki's made a good point, but the biggest crime for me is they have a cool werewolf, and then we have no fight scene that we actually see. Everything happens in frames that are not on camera. That was criminal. I felt like it was Disney or Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, something like the best freaking moment is happening off camera. Like, screw you people. Werewolf wants to throw down. Let him actually throw down for a minute.
Yep.
Now, he lasted like 2 seconds and two. I was so retarded. I hated that sequence. I was so mad that I was getting a cool werewolf in that one.
Just so we're clear, it wasn't just like a werewolf like you think of like the Wolfman. No, this was like a werewolf where like his stomach turned into a giant mouth. Like that's the werewolf mouth. And you're thinking like, I want to see him snap someone in half with this. Like after his other two assassin buddies, one is like turning into the elements and the other dude is like kind of sneaking through the shadows and can kill you by stabbing your shadows. Like we don't get to see this guy fight. I was expecting to have like a big, grand, epic fight with like D, who we didn't really
robbed.
Get a ton of that either.
I wanted to see this guy bite the hand, the freaking like parasite hand, Loki. I wanted to see something throw down, and I was just robbed. It's like boom, oh this happens. Cut to this, some blood splatter. I'm like, what the heck, dude? You cheated me out of my like no.
I feel a lot of that.
Yeah, I had a lot. So I love the action sequences. I love all these different characters, these bounty hunters, the freaking, I pulled it up earlier, the Van Helsing looking tank to fight freaking vampires was cool. All the characters so different and unique. Like, I mean, I just loved it. I thought all of that was great. I thought this was fine in this world that I'm in. This was all great. I enjoyed all of this. I want to see these guys. I want to see all that. But I don't want it to be, at the expense of my main character, which is what Loki's saying, and I definitely understand that for sure.
I remember you brought up the space station thing, and I remember watching the original with a friend and then being like, why the hell is there a robot horse in this? This is like Dark Ages. It's all like, I said, no, it's not. This is way in the future. It's the vampires basically destroyed the earth to turn humans into cattle. They caused a great calamity, a great war, so that human beings would become their cattle and they could easily control the population. You mentioned like the space station, and this is like humanity coming back from this dark age and it went down because vampires have been controlling everything. And I think that's a unique story. They explain none of that at the beginning of this. So if you've never seen the original or you've never read the manga and you haven't seen the whole thing or you don't know what's really going on, you're just kind of like, why the hell do they have a tank? Why is there a space station? Why does he have a horse with red eyes? It's one of those things.
Yeah, there is definitely some weird elements in here that.
Does anybody else get a real bad echo?
I don't know why I'm getting it.
Might have been the way I shared the screen.
Okay, that was it. It went away. So yeah, it had to have been Ironcaster's fault.
Hashtag blame Ironcaster.
So yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think that also it wants to pick and choose when the vampires are vulnerable to sunlight and light. Like it's just convenient when they're bothered by it and how long they have before they would like start to melt, and like it was really cool to see Meyer like willing to basically let himself burn up to save the chick to a certain extent, but then later D is like in the sun for a pretty long time. No, nothing. I got nothing.
The thing is, though, he's not a full vampire either. He has that resistance for being the Dampier.
I understand, but Blade has to follow the same rules, man. We have to have the rules, and the rules have to make sense. And I agree with Loki. If you didn't see the first movie and you have some issues, it's a little hard to kind of figure out like what are we doing? How do we navigate through, some of these different things? The problem is, of course, the animation's so beautiful. Oh my god, it's so good. It's so good.
It's so easy to want, for at least for me anyway, to want to overlook a lot of the faults, because I find myself so caught in, but just how beautiful it is, just how enrapturing it is.
I agree with that.
Like these shots of the desert and getting at the close-ups of the parasite hand.
I still don't totally get the parasite hand, but I love the parasite hand, so it's kind of a weird thing for me. I don't know, Loki, how do you feel about a parasite hand? You got a parasite? I think Loki would have a parasite hand. I think it would be like no surprise to anyone. He starts wearing a glove, and we're like, dude figured out how to get a parasite hand.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Although I do find it to be a fascinating character to put with D, because D is just that so held back, reserved character. And here is this literally this lecherous hand who's gonna be all the id, who is all of that ego, all of that everything that he is not. He can't just get rid of it, well, because it has so many advantages to him. That makes it this fascinating character to give us these little ideas into his psyche, because this hand is a part of it. It's been with him for centuries. It knows him better than he may even know himself.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, I get that. By the way, folks, let me just run through chat. I have no idea why the comments are not refreshing properly, VMux, so I'm just going to read a few. So apologize for that. Hail to Jacob Ironside. He'll be on a little bit later here soon. So make sure you are checking out Jacob Sano. Keely Chow said, meanwhile, in the Buffyverse, the vampires can't have babies. Jacob said, is that a robot horse? Well, there is a robot horse, but not. He goes and gets a real horse. So I thought that was actually fine.
They're all robot horses.
Oh, they're all robot horses? I thought the one was actually a real horse. Okay.
Yeah, no, they've got like a big old cyborg like Jodie LaForge visor across the eyes.
No, I just didn't notice as much in this one as I did the first movie for sure. Snorty says hashtag blame Ironcaster. That's true. We can. We usually do around here. And hail to Zax. Hopefully you're doing well, brother.
There we go.
Yeah. So
had to share just a little bit different.
Is it a different thing?
No, I just wanted to share it just slightly better to kind of hide the progress bar.
All right. I mean, I guess you can see the visor and stuff in some of the shots. Here, let me pull this one up. Yeah, I guess you can kind of tell. I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. Some things I catch, some things I don't. But you're all right. So we'll go back to the other shot.
Oh, it looks so good.
Yeah, so I think it's a fair thing. I mean, look, I think we could attest to that. The animation is carrying a bad, or not a bad movie, a mediocre movie. I'm gonna go bad. I can't get there quite with Loki on bad, but I can definitely get to. It's definitely a lot more Midland. But I think the first one is not particularly excellent either. I came down on a very strong 3. I think I would kind of put this one at like a 2.5. I think it's just this animation is just absolutely incredible. So it is immersive, and if you're into the world and you're into the manga, you want to really kind of go down the rabbit hole with all this. I totally get it, but yeah, a lot of shortcomings. Soul Assassin points out, a horse is a horse, of course, indeed, my friend. It's not. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's bad. Snorty says. I think the biggest thing for me was just I really can't get my head around when vampire movies do this. I don't know that I totally understand the vampires that don't want to turn their humans. I'm still just trying to figure that out. Like I don't. Is that
It's
a trope that's
supposed
in
to
a
be.
lot of movies?
It's supposed to be
Go
like a
ahead.
romantic thing. So this
Ugh.
is supposed to be like a romantic, like almost like the sparkly vampire bullshit. But Dee's mother was human. So if anybody could kind of and you don't know that obviously it because they don't bother letting you know shit in this movie. If they would have let us know a little bit about his mom or something or given us a flashback, that would have been cool. But they don't do that. Dee's mother was human. That's why he's a Dampier. Obviously, his father is who his father is. So it's a thing in this universe. But they always end up like killing the human at some point. That's what you were going to get in the original movie with the town girl. Eventually, he would have killed her. He would have had his fun with her and enjoyed the fact she was a human or whatever. But eventually, he was going to kill her. And they kind of tease you with that, later in this movie. The fact that he's like that close to biting her and killing her, but I'm not going to do it. She wants him to do it. And he's like, no, you don't understand what it's like to be a creature of the night, all lonely. It's supposed to be this romantic thing.
Yeah.
And
Ironcaster, go back to the old creature or the shadow things. This was probably the weakest sequence for me because they never totally. They just don't totally ever explain like what the things are. Like how do they work? How do you kill? So sometimes you can spear them and kill them, and then other times you can't because they're still shadowy. And I don't know. This was the weakest action sequence. This would be, if I was storyboarding this into a movie, I'd be like, okay, guys, you're really going to have to redo this sequence. We're going to have to figure something out because I can't. This is not going to work. This is the mix. It's creepy and it's interesting in a fantasy world, but logistically, I have a hard time getting my head around this sequence for sure.
I mean, it's ultimately a world where we've kind of glossed over the fact that these kinds of freaky, weird powers that all these characters have. A world with literal demon-looking monster men, guys with turtle shells built onto them, are all just a part of life. So we have people with just weird powers all about. There's no time to really explain this because they're trying to kill you. Which, in the world itself, is fine, but you're trying to tell a story. You gotta clue the audience into this more.
And they don't. They don't do that. You never find out who this guy is. You never find out why he's important. You never find out if he has any special powers. You never find out why he's doing what he's doing. It's just, I run this place where vampires can be safe. Pay me money and I'll keep you safe. And if someone comes along and wants to kill you, I'll throw a whole bunch of nasty shit at him. And even that isn't really explained all that well.
Well, he lies about that too, right? Because he reneges. He not only finishes the sentence, but he reneges. I didn't like this light. So the one bounty hunter, he's like on a hospital bed, barely alive, but he can sort of like manifest his spirit thing. He was the dumbest, lamest part of the bounty hunter team. It was kind of a weird character design. Like
And they never explain that either.
It's inevitable it's inevitable when we get into sci-fi that we're going to have some sort of like psychic powers or psionics for our D&D folks.
But they only needed like 2 seconds to have the sister and him talk about it, like because she cares about him, but she doesn't really care about him because she cares about everything else going on faster. So you easily could just say, "Well, I have to do these things. We have to speed this along because it will save so and so because he has limits on his power, how much he can do." And it is really not that hard to work in the dialogue that we need for this. So.
Exactly.
They leave so much up for you to infer that you have to sort of really focus to pick up on the contextual clues to realize, the more he's been using his power, the more it's been killing him. And he's basically got about 1 or 2 more uses left in the tank before he's finally kaput.
It's all headcanon because not in the movie. So fair enough. I mean, I get it, but it's just not spelled out. So
To me, that's lazy storytelling, and that doesn't exist in the first movie. And that's why I was like, I'm trying to be careful on how I word this, because I really love this universe. I love Vampire Hunter D, the original movie. It sets up so many cool things that they could have dug into and expanded on, but none of that's here. So unless you read the manga, or unless you've really gone on the board with the first movie, and I have, and I still get frustrated because there's not like this dude, the glowing bounty hunter. Like, why does he do this? How is he able to do this? What the hell are they shooting in his arm? Why does he have these abilities? It's not enough to go, oh, cool, look at that. We need some kind of talk, and there's
because
just not
again,
there.
Hey, Ironcaster, if you can, we'll pull this down for a second, Ironcaster, if you could, and find a shot, because there's an opening action sequence with the bounty hunters, and they all showcase their skills really quickly. So the one guy's spinning knives. They have a quick shot of Layla. They have the quick shot of the cyborg. This weird telepathic, energy guy. It's like, we don't know. It's like, it's not clearly defined for us. It's kind of this ambiguous thing. So again, weak storytelling is totally fair. We get a little glimpse of everybody's sort of like in action, so we can get our head around how it works. We're supposed to showcase that for. That's what this sequence was for. It's cool. It's fine for what it is, but also there's a lot of holes and issues along the way because we don't get all of our questions answered ahead of time. By the way, Soul Assassin says Vampire D is kind of like Blade. Yeah. A less, well, I guess VHD is more godlike than Blade, but at least some of the premises are similar. But
he has some actual powers. Like the hand itself can like suck up spells, and
that stuff's way more sci-fi fantasy stuff than even Blade is. Blade's definitely more like a traditional vampire / human hybrid who can walk amongst the daylight because he's a hybrid. So D does have some of that, but even then there's limitations on that. They pick and choose. When he's out on the sand in the desert tracking, he seemed fine. But later on, when they needed him to be in trouble, he was just in trouble. So the movie felt inconsistent with that. But yeah.
But to be fair,
you don't have suckheads trying to like get with humans and not make them vampires either.
Right.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, we did have the hand saying you can't be in the sun too long, so we did get some warning that he's pushing himself here. That said, it doesn't do enough to really fill this in. Part of that, I wonder how much of this is just lost in the translation from the novel, because again, this does come from a book, so I wonder how much of the book was just not put into the adaptation. And the frustrating thing is ultimately that I want to love this world. I want to like engross myself and get more and more into this. Like, I want to see like a full animated series of him just going around and having these sort of episodic adventures like this. But I'm frustrated because we only get these like two little snippets of this world, and when we know there's so much more potential to it, it's like knowing you have, like, for example, as an example, the Blade Runner role-playing game has all this potential of the world of Blade Runner, but it's due to being this licensed based on an existing movie, you're limited to effectively just what you see in the film. When you want to go out into space and see everything that like was talked about in the Tears of the Rain speech, none of the craziness of this world beyond the forest, the forest in the first movie, the desert here, none of that's really explored more.
Yeah, and it's going to upset people, and I know that's not what you all want to hear, but it feels very much like a similar problem that I have with most Disney, Marvel, Disney, Star Wars. Like, people are defending shows, like let's say like Ahsoka or something, and they'll have all of these head canon type things that they're talking about what's going on because it happened in Rebels or it happened but it didn't actually happen on screen in the show or the movie that we're watching. And I feel Bloodlust is definitely tarnished by that. Definitely, especially if you have not seen the first movie. I mean, if I didn't see the first movie, I would be really more confused about what D can and cannot do. it again, it didn't totally ruin it for me because the more interesting elements is all of the growth and the changes happening to multitude of characters around him. All these bounty hunters, what they're willing to do, what they're willing to sacrifice, and why. I will say it's kind of sad or tragic because it was at the end of the day just pure mercenary motivation, almost like a Pitch Black or something, where they're willing to just, all right, just for the cash, we'll do it. It's like, okay. But we do end up enjoying those characters and realizing how much they care about one another. With that said, though, I feel like the D part and, his motivation, he seems to be a lot more human than vampire by the end of the movie. Like, you feel like this Layla stuff and some of the other things going on, it makes you really connect with him. Look how beautiful this animation is, though. Look at the beautiful details and backgrounds and stuff. Just, it is immersive, man. It is immersive. It's a beautiful, beautiful film. For sure.
It's a world you want to get lost in.
Yeah.
And the frustrating thing is as far as films go, we only have these 2 little tastes of it.
Oh, I didn't know how many. I didn't know how many film adaptations there had been. I mean, it's shocking because it seems like there would be more. Huh, interesting. So, yeah.
I mean, there's, last I counted, about like at least 20 plus novels.
Yeah.
In fact, give me a second. I will get you a number for that.
Right. Yeah, but overall, I think it is. It's one of these things where I think if you're going to watch Bloodlust, I would recommend watching the first movie and Bloodlust pretty much almost in like a watch party. Like just go ahead and knock them out back to back. Kind of get through the adventure and the journey, the immersion. I do feel I'm not going to totally throw shade at the studio, but I feel like they were making the film for its name rather than like, hey, we had this great, clever idea that we wanted to kind of throw in. It doesn't really have that. And the Bloodlust stuff, which is, Meyer bloodlusting for this girl, but doesn't.
Did you lose connection? Uh-oh. I hope it's not just me.
Give me the rundown. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. You sort of roboted and disappeared on me for a second.
I did. Sorry about that.
So fill you in, there are 40 novels in this world.
Wow.
And the ultimate thing that does sell this, that has sold this all, is it's that art, the Yoshitaka Amano caricatures. Once we put those on the books, it sold the character like crazy, and that is what ultimately is the big seller to this. It's the look of the character, which pairs well with just a fascinating world, but we just don't get enough of it. And that's the frustrating part.
All right. Show us a little more of the animation and stuff, if you could. Let's take a little.
Animation looked great. The animation was absolutely top tier. That's the only other thing I liked about this was the animation is.
Yeah. Beautifully done. And I got to be honest, I wish more anime had so many more interesting and diverse looking characters, because there are a lot of anime that I've seen where I feel like these are a whole bunch of guys that look alike. They're very effeminate. They don't, a film like this, man, these characters look radically different. It is very, very immersive. Yeah.
That's Japan at the time. Mm-hmm. So the art style is the art style is very Japan. If you go back and look at some of the stuff they prototype, I think IRONCASTER mentioned Final Fantasy earlier. If you go back and look at some of the character animation they did for prototypes for the Final Fantasy games back in the 90s, it's very similar. You've got this style that they use that's absolutely breathtaking. It's gorgeous. It looks great. They were at the top of their game.
Yeah. So that's by far the score. That definitely raises the score for me. It gets it to that. I'm gonna stick with my score of 2.5 out of 5, 5 out of 10 for this. I don't. I want to give it more, but I just can't. There's just so many big issues, and my issues are actually somewhat different than or Loki's, because I felt like I got cheated out. First, I'm not going to be able. I'm not even sure how I'm going to be able to ignore. I got cheated out of my werewolf fight. I actually was quite angry about my werewolf fight. I actually got a little, like, I had to pause it for a minute. All right, I'm going to walk the dogs or something, because I'm like, wait, what is going on, man? Why you set up this great moment and then we don't get it? Like, So, yeah, the artwork's great. Listen, I'm not throwing shade at any of that. Character development, details in the background. There were a few moments here and there. I love the action sequences. I think were great. The world building, different diverse characters, secondary characters, tertiary characters. So most of that I really did enjoy. The problem is I just feel also like there's a couple things that I just couldn't get past. So I didn't know it was Ironcaster's first time. I'm actually a little surprised. I figured that you had actually seen this. Or how did it get on our list? That's kind of interesting.
Well, we had done the first one, and then we were sort of looking for titles to follow up for anime, and well, it was the fact that we knew that there was a sequel. Personally, I was going to try to have saved it for like October. I figured this would have been, because vampires would have been good enough to throw into the Halloween mix.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose we have so many movies to try to get to, though. It's a little tricky. I think we have a vampire movie for Halloween. I think I chose Bram Stoker's Dracula for SQUEEKA, because I doubt she's seen that, and she's going to love that movie. That's one that would fit right up her alley for sure. So well, I thought we could do that one. I think the anniversary for that was last year, though. But anyway, it's fine.
So final scores:
2.5 out of me. Loki?
I'll give it a 5 for the animation, and like I said, those two. I thought the dialogue with the old man when he goes to get the horse was absolutely excellent. It gives us a little backstory that is absolutely absent from this entire movie. And the stuff with, what was Lila? Her name was Lila. Mm-hmm. The little bit with her and the end with the granddaughter, I thought was a cool little thing. Everything else... take it for what you will. I thought I was not impressed. So if they could have saved this, if they had done more to flesh out some more of the backstory, give us a little more with D. There was one scene where he talks to the girl that was kidnapped by the vampire, who wasn't kidnapped, who went along with him willingly. I thought that was kind of where he's like, so you want to be with him. He's like, you do understand that he's going to kill you. And, and she wants him to. She wants him to make her a vampire. Where in a world where nobody wants to be one of those things. They're hated. So it gets a 5 for some very little interesting dialogue. And the thing with the old man I thought was really cool, because he stood up to everybody and was like, no, I'm not going to let you do this again. This guy came in, he saved us when we were kids. I always remembered that. I wanted more of that. And it's just missing in the entire thing. I don't know if the book was, if it's the same way in the book. I do know that this was released in 2001. They started working on it in 1997. They only did another movie because of the success of the first movie, which I hate when they do that. If you're going to tell a story, tell it right, tell a good story, give a reason for doing it. There was just so much left out of this that I felt cheated.
And it is inexcusable, because the scene where Dee has buried himself to survive the sunlight issue, where he's talking with Layla and they're just sitting there for a moment, it was a perfect time for him to talk to her and relate to her, to try to encourage her in different ways. Like, that would have been an easy way to tell some backstory. You know what I mean?
You don't even know
he's passed out and he has a vision or hallucination from his past. One of those two things would easily have given you some of the backstory for sure.
And unless you've seen that first movie, you do not know anything about who his parents are. You really don't. And that's just that whole thing. There's this beautiful scene at the end of the first movie where the daughter of the count realizes who the hell he is and is like, you are the son of our maker. Oh my God. That is why you are so powerful. That is why you survived all this stuff. And it's this like eureka moment of understanding for her. There is none of that in this movie. And it's sad that it's not there. Yeah, you've got some action stuff, but even though, like you were saying, the werewolf stuff you're cheated out of. So yeah, it gets a 5 out of me.
Ironcaster. Let's see. I come down the same. It's kind of interesting.
I want to love this movie. I want to like it, but the problems are just too great to overcome. And it's forcing me to have to try and headcanon a lot of the problems that are there to try to do the legwork to justify so much of it. To a degree, that can be fine, but it frankly just does way too much of it. I feel like this wasn't quite the story we should have gotten because we've had chase stories like this told better in other movies, and I mean we brought up Mad Max and Fury Road did it better.
Yeah.
It is a 5-star movie, like a 2.5. Is where I'm willing to put it. It's
2.5. We all come down the same. Boy, actually, it's very rare we all come down the same on a movie. And actually, I think we also are coming down in kind of, I want to say different angles, but at least there are some differences of the priority of our criticisms, if you will. I don't know. Do you think we'll ever get like a live action version of something like this?
I hope
we'll get something. You don't think so?
I hope not.
I wouldn't be surprised to see someone try to option it, because at the end of the day, Vampire Hunter D is this kind of iconic caricature that stands out. People look at this, they recognize it. The problem is, we know that like modern day Hollywood would try to make like Bella Ramsey play D.
No. I don't think they would be that great. I mean, I I think if we
or
try
Tom
to be
Holland in a wig.
Well, I hope not. Obviously, it's like a Tom Hiddleston type film role or something. There are characters that could, actors that could pull it off. That's what makes it even more frustrating. Is you feel like there's people that could have, back in the day, could have been like a Johnny Depp type character, for sure. And Keanu's a little old now. You need someone who has that, that fair skin to keep the young vampire look. But yeah, not bad. Lots of different characters, lots of fun stuff to work through in these first 2 films. But again, I think there's a massive fall off between the first one and the second one, for sure. So yeah, kind of or sort of like our anime got all shuffled around this month because of some stuff that happened for me last week. So yeah, this was not necessarily what I wanted to kick off our anime with, but Snorty says vampires just suck. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. I haven't read any of the manga. I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting. Someone sent me a manga, and I'm like, I don't read backwards well. Like y'all. I'm too white for this or something. I don't know what to tell people. Like,
too white.
I'm too white. Like I don't. Let's just stop pretending that you can program me after I don't know. 1989 was like the serious comic book bug took. So we were over 35 years now of doing it a certain way. It's a little hard to reprogram. Yeah. And, the two big too. DC's actually been successful. Marvel's trying to play catch up, of course, but they've done good of trying to do these compact comics now, very manga style and size, which a lot of people are embracing because they're small. Like you could take them on an airplane, you can carry around your backpack. So graphic novels can be big and cumbersome. So to tell little tales, I think Batman Hush was one of the most popular ones. Of course, The Watchmen will always sell. So there is some changes in the industry to do that, but yeah, I can't do so. But I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's on YouTube. I don't think I put the link there. I should have put the link in the description for YouTube, but I may not have. It's over there on YouTube, guys. You can watch this one for free, so you won't have to buy a copy. But I put the links there if you want to get a copy for sure. Let's see. So where are we at on? Ghost of the Shells next week. Okay, trying to check the schedule, making sure I don't misspeak. I'll talk about the rest of anime. I think Vex Electronica, she's a YouTuber here on the old tubes with us, and she was going to join us this week, but she had something come up, so she'll be joining us next week for Ghost in the Shell. She's a big VHD vampire fan, so we may be selling the movie short based on her perspective, but without her in here, I don't know how to speak on her behalf. We'll see what she says about Ghost in the Shell. I like Ghost in the Shell. I love Ghost in the Shell. I think it's a classic, so we'll see.
The TV show's not bad either.
What's that?
The TV show follow-up is pretty darn good too.
Is it? All right. I haven't watched the TV show. I've never watched the live action Scarlett Johansson nonsense. I've never watched that. I don't know that I could sit through that.
I think people were too harsh on it at the time.
It's all right.
Yeah. I don't have time for another it's all right without a hot take. Come up with some sort of weird hot take on it, I will, but I just watched Judge Dredd, the 1995 Stallone version, so I have a little bit of a hot take on that I'm going to do. So put that out there. Without a hot take for Ghost in the Shell, I don't think I'm going to sit through that. So we'll see.
Well, the thing you got to remember with Ghost in the Shell was you had all the woke-tivists up in arms because Scarlett Johansson was playing the character when the whole idea is that they're literally android, like an android body. So it's ultimately the race doesn't matter because the character isn't even in her biological body. She's in this synthetic shell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were mad because she is a white girl, right? Is that what the issue was?
Yeah, everyone was mad that it was like Scarlett Johansson, who's a white lady, who's playing this Japanese character when that's kind of part of the point of the idea.
Oh, it's 2017. I thought it was long before then. That totally makes sense then. Okay, yeah, that was definitely not an era where we should have been making that movie then, because those cards were stacked against her for that to get some publicity, because they must have gone out. I don't remember. I saw it, which was like, no thanks. I'm not gonna. I have my one Ghost in the Shell. I don't need them trying to butcher that for me. So I've never watched it. So yeah. They call that whitewashing, right, Loki? Is that the right term they use for that nonsense?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even get caught up in that kind of nonsense one way or the other, for sure. So, what should we talk about, gents? It's kind of rough when we don't feel like we totally enjoy or get immersed ourselves in this kind of thing. But I felt I had a good time watching it. It went by fast, but I felt frustrated in different parts, and it kind of was like taking the wind out of my sails. So it's like a start-stop thing. It'd be good for 15-20 minutes, and one of those things that we talked about would happen and be like, all right, and go again along for the sequence, and that's something else what happens. That's how I felt. So
I'm probably going to want to stick into just the first film if I want to get that fix in, because that at least was a vampire story.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it was a definitely enjoyable film. It was rewatchable enough. It was good. So, yeah, it's fine. I wouldn't mind rewatching the first film. I don't know that I was as big of a fan and hooked on it like most people were, because I think this wasn't totally my thing. So, what about you guys in chat? What do you guys think of this movie? You guys agree? Have any of you seen it or not seen it that you want to talk and chime in about? I know some of you had a lot of interesting comments about it. I don't know. Of course, I didn't know anything about it. I'm the noob in the room. Fair enough. So, yeah, Vampire D. Interesting. That's all. But yeah, we're gonna roll through anime. We have our Ghost in the Shell. Then we'll have our Ninja Scroll. Boy, will I guess have my fair amount of scars from all of that. What I hear and understand, at least, to expect. Keep my guard up for the scars. That'll be in 2 weeks.
Oh, you'll enjoy that a lot more than this movie.
It's not a movie we're just looking at with rose tinted glasses.
I know that's the theme. He's all about that. So yeah, I haven't. I had never even heard of That one or Wicked City, which I know Wicked City popped up on something for free. I just forgot to watch it. I don't know if hopefully it's still there. But yeah, that one actually popped up on something. I should watch that one.
Good.
It's not as good. You like Ninja?
No, Wicked City is good. It's right up there with Ninja Scroll.
And then we'll squeeze in Spirited Away the first week of June. That will transition us into our anniversary show before we do our Kai June movies. So we'll get into some Kai June talk for sure. So yeah, good stuff ahead. Good stuff ahead. Loki, how was YouTube talk today? I didn't even know it was coming. I wasn't ready. I wasn't primed. It just popped up in my. I clicked the home button and it's there, and I'm like, I don't have time right now. I can't do this.
It's 3 p.m. every Tuesday before
every Tuesday. Okay.
Every Tuesday before Talk Hard. I did not send the chat over. I'm sorry about that. I was flying by the seat of my pants today. So 3 p.m. every Tuesday. That's the new time for Talk Hard. It's the only other show I decided to keep because I really enjoy doing it. Really enjoy talking about the YouTube stuff, and I have fun. So,
well, now I can earmark that time and know that's coming. Get me ready for Talk Hard. Get my little Loki fix right ahead of that, so it'll be good to know. Folks out there, make sure you're doing that. Obviously, all the links are in the description. These poor gentlemen are usually tagged regularly because I'm always commenting and posting different shorts and things like that. So from all of our past shows. So yeah, those are even. There'll be more tomorrow. I have more shorts from our past that are going to populate tomorrow. So yeah, they never stop coming because let's face it, we're making memories around here. We're doing our stuff. But yeah, YouTube Talk's great, folks. Make sure you check that out.
Thank you
for sure. Always have a good time doing that. Ironcaster, my friend, you're going to be my Popcast guest this week. It's going to be a fun one. Talking Gundam stuff with you, man. That's different.
Yeah, it's like one of the big old granddaddies of big robots, and it's like kind of impossible. Like, how could I not want to talk about Gundam? You mean to tell me I get a chance to talk about some big robots? Like, no, I would just hate to do that. And then, but that's not all we did.
Yeah, well, the other one's not ready. That'll be not this Thursday. That'll be, I believe, next week.
Should we leave a little clue or two?
No, we can tell everybody. I don't mind. Loki, I would see Loki. I'm sure Loki has seen it, so he'll be happy to know that I had my bubble burst and I have seen it because I had not seen it.
I recommended a good movie, Loki.
It was fun. Mm-hmm. It was fun. Good, a little tricky, but it was fun.
We sat down and watched a Chuck Norris movie.
All right.
Which Chuck Norris movie?
Mm-hmm.
One Lone Wolf McQuaid.
Not a bad pick.
Evil midget, baby. I stop me in my tracks, Loki. Stop me in my freaking tracks. Evil midget in a wheelchair, zooms on screen with his little evil smile, has a little revolving wall behind him in another scene. Like I like, oh my gosh, Ironcaster's got me pretty good.
I somehow forgot about him. I was so caught up on our evil why can't I remember who I'm trying to think of? Chuck Norris's mentor, who looks like Mark Twain, who holds the hippie hostage.
Oh right. Yeah. He was good. He was all right. Yeah.
And he's got him like sitting there playing cards. He's handcuffed up.
David Carradine throwing down in a freaking 80s sweater is freaking great, man. It's so insane. That's a fun movie, man. We had a good time. So that'll come out in a week from Thursday. It's my first watch reaction talking about all of that, and you can hear I think it's isn't it LQ Jones, isn't that who plays
Yes.
You're talking about? Yeah.
Yep, that's the guy.
From The Wild Bunch. I don't know what else he's been in. I know he's in The Wild Bunch, famous movie. So.
I know he just looks like he was born old.
Maybe. I don't think he looked that old in Wild Bunch, but yeah. He definitely feels like a cowboy. Feels like he was born in a Texas farm or something. Like
So he was in the movie. He's retiring, but he looks like he's about ready to steal your woman all the same.
Look, do you have a favorite Chuck Norris movie?
Oh, probably Missing in Action.
That's a good choice. I haven't watched that since probably the 90s. So, yeah.
I wouldn't mind hitting up on Invasion USA or The Octagon.
If you want like a everything Norris, watch Sidekicks.
Oh yeah,
because that kind of has everything Chuck Norris ever did all rolled into one movie.
Which one was the one where he transforms into animals?
Oh God,
What?
not
Where he's
Sidekicks.
No, he's like some spirit of the forest or something. Like he's supposed to be like a Native American spirit.
Yeah. It's not Sidekicks. It's something else.
I think I love him in Dodgeball. I should. I need a Chuck Norris playlist because I'm up to a couple Chuck Norris things. So
Forest Warrior.
That sounds about right.
And yes, it was direct to VHS.
there's no shame in that for sure. No shame whatsoever. I had the commercial. I can't pull it up. I don't have it loaded, but I can play it next week if you want. The Chuck Norris action figure line. I have the commercial for that. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Chuck Norris Commandos, I think it's what it was called.
A shape-shifting mountain man and a group of children team up to protect an enchanted forest from evil lumberjacks.
What is this again?
This is Forest Warrior with Chuck Norris.
Forest Warrior. Okay.
And he's wearing like Indian stuff.
Yes.
He's like all decked out in Indian garb.
Oh man, yeah. I see this now.
I'm just saying, Talk Hard 26.
I don't know about that. Ironcaster, I don't know, man. What am I gonna do with you?
Oh, I have nothing but the best ideas here, Pops.
This was during the what was his name? Who's the guy who did all the action movies with Jean-Claude Van Damme? Just Steven Seagal. This is during the Steven Seagal I'm an Indian phase. This is after like Dances with Wolves, and it's like all of Hollywood went Indian.
Right. Yep.
You even had like badass Roseanne Barr dressing up like an Indian. Yeah.
Man, Hollywood is so devoid of like interesting and creativity, man, that they just Dances with Wolves did well. Does everybody go out there and have something like Dances with Wolves? Who has something like Dances with Wolves? And just how you get this you beat something till it's completely dead. If I was running a studio and Dances with Wolves was a hit, I'm like, okay, no Indian Native American movies are getting made now. No, stop. They're all dead. No, we're not doing that. Stop. Who's got something completely different? Who's got we're not holy cow. Yeah, you're right. The copycat stuff is so grossly
it was their version of pandering to that at the time. You know, we get into all the the stuff we get into now, but the Indian pandering back then, they all wanted to like, we have to have something with turquoise, and we have to have Indian silver, and we have to have all this stuff and wear it proudly to support the Indian nation, when really they could give a shit less about where the Indian people are today. The American Indians, they don't give a crap. They don't give a crap about buffalo. They don't give a crap about none of that. They just had to like be Hollywood and try and represent themselves as something like that. It's all a bunch of shit.
You just got to stop into the casino, maybe gamble away a little bit.
Sonority says, evil lumberjacks. Are they okay? Do they press wildflowers all day? Mike says
no,
yes.
but Chuck Norris transforms into a wolf at one point and has to fight lumberjacks. I think he turns into a bear.
Is it another one of these Ironcaster? Why are you not reviewing these on your channel? Why is there not the? It's such a missed opportunity.
Look, I just love knowing the fact that these insane movies exist. I don't want to actually subject myself to them. At least not without forcing other people to do it as well.
You subject yourself to the worst shark movies ever made, and you don't want to subject yourself to Hollywood slop.
No, I know these movies exist. That doesn't mean I've seen them. I love collecting them like Infinity Stones. Like,
Ironcaster watches Sharknado and is like, "This is such a good movie, guys. You got to watch it." And we're like, "No, thank you."
I have nothing but the best ideas. It just, I just, no one sees my vision.
So I love some of the comments about this movie. This is Forest Warrior, folks. This is this insane.
We've gone on a
thing.
whole other tangent.
It says it's a must-see for anybody who refuses to believe that there are worse roles an actor can get stuck with than that of a corpse. Wow.
We have to see this now.
I'm not watching this movie.
Chuck Norris hit this movie so hard no one can find it anymore.
Oh, it's on Tubi or something, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
It's there. Yeah, I'd be shocked unless Disney or Amazon or somebody owns it and they're trying to bury it. It's out there. That's usually the criteria. It's one of those companies who are trying to bury it. But yeah, Invasion USA keeps coming up, so that will probably be my next Chuck Norris film because I have not watched Invasion USA, and if I have, it's been so long I don't remember anything about it. So I didn't remember anything about Lone Wolf McCade. I kind of remembered him being buried alive in the truck, but then he like drives out of the hole. So I don't remember that at all. But of course he pours the beer. Yeah, I know. Ironcaster was just, if we were in a theater, he'd be laughing his behind off at the absurdity of the scene.
I love it.
Of course, David Carradine's kung fu fighting in a freaking Argyle sweater, man. The movie's nuts.
His truck is so souped up, he could drive it out of being buried alive.
They at least set it up, though. Buried alive. Loki! Yes, indeed. Memories. Actually, Wrath of Khan's coming up on my rewatch list. I just watched Tremors again. The missus and I, we did Tremors and we did Flash Gordon, 1980 Flash Gordon. And
did you hear about Back to Perfection?
Back to Perfection. Is this the new Tremors thing?
It's a
TV
series.
Show?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's a series. Kevin Bacon, Reba McEntire. They're getting like the surviving cast back to do Back to Perfection, which will be the Tremors TV miniseries.
Better have Michael Gross.
Yeah, it's supposed to.
It's like
supposed to have him and Reba McEntire both, but they're not married, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Well, I knew Back to the Future was a subtitle of what, the second or third one? Third one, right?
Fourth one. No,
Fourth
it
one?
actually might
Okay.
be. No. Yeah, no, I think it was the third.
Yeah.
The fourth one goes back in time.
And there was a TV show of some kind done back in the day. I never saw it, but I know of it. Because Dean Norris is on.
Maybe it's Return to Perfection. I don't know. It's something perfection. Because they can't use the name Tremors.
Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to be coming, right? So, yeah, I enjoy watching it, man. I love watching Tremors. So yeah, that's my yearly watch of Tremors. Got that off the bucket list. So, oh man, Scott. Listen, I'm having trouble pulling up the old chat here, but thank you so much, Scott. Scott Westbrook gave us a little $5. Says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Hope you all are well." Well, hope you are well, my friend. Hope you are well. And
Scott, be sure to let us know if you want us to see Forest Warrior, which is, by the way, on Amazon Prime.
Good for you, Ironcaster. It'll be easy for you to watch and put on your channel. We all look forward to promoting it regularly. Loki and I will promise you that if you do that review, we will both promote it. How's that?
Yep.
I think Loki and I can speak for Loki confidently that if you watch and review Forest Warrior and we don't have to, we will do our part to promote it.
Yes.
Mike says, Comic Critter says, Ironcaster is all about the cheese. Laugh out loud. He's all about the sharks too. The cheese is secondary. I'll be honest.
Okay, tell you what, Pops, we won't watch Forest Warrior. How about we watch Kung Fu and Titties?
Oh geez, we're not watching anything with freaking boobs and stuff in the title, dude. They're gonna give me trouble with the missus. I got in trouble the other day for using twat waffle. I had trouble, Loki. I did it. It came out. It came out in the middle of my Last of Us review. I'm like, how could she know? Someone had to comment on it. Someone had to comment. Someone had to bring it up. And I'm like, oh crap. So, but that's what they are, man. The show's about TWs.
Yep.
Did I miss the Lamageddon review? You did, because it's on Ironcaster's channel, because I'm not watching Lamageddon, Scott. Scott, I have respected many of your requests. I try to be very faithful to people that have been supporting and been here with me since the get-go, Scott. Don't get carried away with things like, that. I'm not doing that. So, yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, Snorty is like all about it. It's a real wiener, the kung fu and the... Yeah, I see what you did there, Snorty. Your shenanigans are, yeah. Okay, fair enough. I see what you do. Yeah, but no, thanks, Scott. Appreciate that, my friend. So, yeah, busy week. The Ironcaster will be coming. Coming Friday. He'll be on with me Friday. This Thursday is a movie I didn't even hear of, and I owned. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed, Loki. I really was. So, Baron has been doing first watch videos with me, and he said, hey, I want to go watch of the 12 Chairs by Mel Brooks. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. It is the first disc in my box set that I burn through this set yearly because of Spaceballs and Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles. We do watch High Anxiety, History of the World, 12 Chairs. It's this sort of Russian comedy, and it's, very interesting, spoofy parody, early Mel Brooks. So that's my Thursday this week before we get to Lone Wolf McQuaid next
It's
week.
also there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's good stuff. But I will say too, I'm also very glad that Loki's he's planted his new flag at 3:00 on Tuesday. So YouTube Talk. So make sure you folks get out there and check that out. Make sure you get that. So
got a game stream coming up tonight at 7:30, about an hour and a half from now.
Cool. What are you playing?
Doom Dark Ages.
Doom Dark Ages. All right.
Continuing our journey through the brand new game that came out yesterday.
All right. I'll tool around and listen a little bit while I'm driving in. Yeah. I try not to make too many comments and stuff overnight. I always worry about people's phones going off. I feel bad, but I listen. So it is interesting too when you're driving in at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Eastern time, and there's some of our YouTube Circle people that are actually live at that time. I'm like, that's kind of weird. What are y'all doing? But there are some West Coasters out there, but there are some that are not West Coasters. I'm like, huh, all right, fair enough. So, Ironcaster, you're gonna be on with the T-shirt here in a little bit.
Yeah, looks like we're gonna be there. Not quite sure what we're gonna get into. Maybe we'll see what dramas have been happening this week, or if I don't know, maybe we want to talk about what Wizards of the Coast has probably done this week.
Something you do every week.
Always something.
Yeah, it is. So insane. All right, man. That's good stuff. Very, very good stuff. I had a good time. I know, guys, this is a meh movie. A meh. We all kind of went middling on it. Yeah, every now and again, it's a miss. But you know what? We've said it. We've done it. It's out there now. All of those that are in chat that can disagree with us, all those are in the comments. Let them come. Let them come. I'm getting hate for my Last of Us stuff, so I'm not fazed. I'm not fazed by anything anymore. It is what it is. So, Loki knows. We vent to each other from time to time about some of the insanity, especially when it comes to the scissoring hens. We're not here. So,
oh yeah.
All right, folks. Well, listen, you guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Guys, thanks for enduring the movie. I know it isn't, always a home run, but, we'll get there. Ghost in the Shell is, I think, solid. I think everybody's going to have a good time watching Ghost in the Shell again. I do. I enjoyed that movie. And you guys in chat, you guys are amazing. Thanks for hanging with us. Scott, thanks for that great super chat donation and support, my friend. Appreciate you out there. Snorty, all you guys out there here every single week. Appreciate you. Soul Assassin, great to see you, man. Great, you're doing all right. Zach's, oh, man, enjoyed. Zach's actually got kittens. So on top of everything else that YouTubers do, every now and again, you go behind the curtain and see some of the crap that's going on. Poor Zach, he's been funny watching these videos with his giant German Shepherd and these two kittens that'll fit in the palm of your hand. It's kind of funny to me. So, but Loki, have a good week, and Ironcaster, have a good week. Good shows tonight, gentlemen. Hope you guys do your good thing, and have Have fun. Be out there. Be blessed. Talk hard. Until next time, I am Pops.
Bob Ross, you'll never see me tripping. Got the vision, I don't even need assistance. Bob